another episode of What the Fuck Paranormal Chat with the Naked Bigfoot. I am your host, Mike the Naked Bigfoot. I want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight. And for those who cannot tune in live tonight, I'm sure that you're going to catch up and watch this later on. And if you hear anything in the background, just FYI, I have gone through several stages of freezing to death, burning up, freezing to death, and now I'm burning up again. So I've got a fan turned on high pointed at me. So if you hear any low hum, that is the fan. It is nothing ghost or paranormal or preternaturally related. I want to quickly get into tonight's episode. Sex and the paranormal. But before we start, we always have a little bit of housekeeping to do in the beginning of every episode. The views and opinions belong solely to the host, who happens to be me. I am not here to offend. I am not here to persuade or dissuade. My channel is set up. Hey, Chris. That goes in the air conditioner. You have no idea how cold this room is right now. But I'm pretty sure I'm going to get too cold and have to turn the heat on in this room. Hey, Heavy Metal Beer Club, welcome, 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 welcome. Good to see everybody tonight. I am not here to persuade, dissuade, offend. My channel is meant to be both entertaining and informative. If you happen to leave from watching any of my episodes, I hope, and I hope, and I hope, and I hope, you feel the need to go out and explore this wonderfully crazy magical world around us, that you do so both sanely and safely. Also, there will be tonight, if you have any small kids in the room, as always, and you do not wish to expose them, especially on tonight's episode. Tonight's episode is going to be probably filled with a lot of bad words. I'm I'm not going to be overly tactful tonight, just to let everybody know. I will not be very tactful whatsoever. I'm going to be blunt and probably a little crude. Just to let everybody know. It's not being done gratuitously, though. It's going to be done. It's going to be done with a method, with a mindful method. But if you have any small kids in the room that you don't wish to expose them to foul words, or to vivid imagery of sexual encounters, I can't help but laugh, because this episode is going to be crazy. It's going to be really fucking crazy. Please have the small child go to bed now, or ask them to leave the room, or wear a set of headphones, so they cannot be exposed to such bad words. If you are easily offended by bad language, I am sorry for that. I would really love for you to stick around, but if you can't, I understand it. I don't wish to offend your delicate sensibilities. I'm trying not to act like a little 13-year-old tonight, or a 16-year-old guy tonight, and giggle about every time I bring up the word sex, but it's going to be hard not to do it. Oh, Heavy Metal, I know, thank you. He left that message for me. He's at his grandson's graduation right now. Papa Joey is. Congrats to his grandson for graduating tonight. It's really cool. God, one day I'll have to tell you how my graduations went. And I do mean graduations, but that's a story for another day. Which brings me also, by saying that, brings me to tonight. We play a drinking game on this show, that every time you hear me say, that's a story for another day, or that's a story for another time. Please take a drink of your adult beverage. If you do not indulge in adult beverages and wish to play along anyway, take a sip of your water, tea, or beverage of choice. If you are drinking adult beverages, at some point you will probably be drunk off your ass, especially on tonight's episode. I'm sorry for laughing every time I bring up tonight's episode. And I do encourage you not to drink and drive. Please play this game safely and sanely. All right. Tonight's episode. I'm trying to be serious, but it's hard to be serious because tonight's episode is as you can get from the title and the description, it's going to be concerning sex and the paranormal. Um, how sexual energy can be used in ritual magic. And how some people, there were reported instances of people having sexual encounters, both willing sexual encounters and unwilling sexual encounters with spirits and ghosts, with unhuman, inhuman, and once human spirits. Again, it might get a little graphic tonight, so I do put that warning out there again. Right before we get started, though, I happen to notice there's not a lot of paranormal researchers and paranormal investigators, for that matter, who have ever covered the subject of sex and the paranormal and studied it with any great detail. I tried really hard to find um, a YouTube channel that paranormal channel that discussed this very topic. So I feel kind of cool that I might be one of the first YouTube channels, and my channel might be one of the first ones that covers the subject tonight, which I think is pretty cool. I feel kind of awesome about that. It is going to be a serious discussion, although I'm going to try not to make it sound rude. I'm going to try to keep it professional, but I will laugh at times, like I'm doing right now when I'm talking about it. Um, Damn it, Chris. Um, Stop it. Look, y'all in the chat tonight, do not encourage me. Because it's not going to go well. It's going to be, I'm trying to be serious, okay? I'm trying to give you a serious discussion about sex and the paranormal. Okay. I'm going to start first with talking about. I actually have a case I want to talk about that I was involved in too. So I'm going to hopefully get to that tonight about the case I was involved in, where there was a couple, a married couple, newlyweds actually, well, relatively newlyweds. They'd been married about a year, so I guess they're still called newlyweds. That a ghost, some ghost hunter friends of mine, paranormal investigator friends of mine, asked me some advice about it and asked me to come in and make some observations and see what was going on. And it was quite an experience. But we're going to get to that story later on tonight. Um, I'm just remembering the instance. When I looked in my diaries, there's usually no more than maybe 20 or 25 pages in my diaries and my journals um, that I write about an investigation or something that happened, unless something outrageous happened. I literally have a 1,000-page journal that's about 2/3 of the way filled up um, with information that I gleaned from that investigation. And when I was reading back over it for the last couple of days, I went, "Fuck!" I cannot believe that I experienced that. It was pretty cool. It was pretty cool. Okay. But again, we're going to start off tonight. Serious face. Serious face. We're going to start off tonight talking about how ritual magic and sex go hand in hand. Alrighty. Quick historical, basis for this. Short, brief, like I always do. I do glean over stuff quickly, so please bear with me. I can speak fast too, so please bear with me. There are a lot of faiths, cultures. When I use the word faith, I'm not just including like the big. I'm not just including the big three. Islam, Christianity, and Judaism. I'm not talking about the big three. When I use the word faith, there were faiths that, and there were groups that worshipped spirits, entities, gods, even that came before the big three. We're talking about the Greeks, notably, the Romans, a lot of the Slavic religions, Finnish, even in Europe with the Picts, that's Picts, the Picts, the wild people of England and the areas, the Druids even. And if you look at some of the South American faiths and religions that predated Christianity even, and Judaism, you look at the Aztecs, the Olmecs, the Toltecs, they incorporated sex into some of their rituals, some of their major rituals, for two reasons. Sometimes it was meant to bring fertility to the women of the village or town or of worshippers. Well, it's more than two reasons. I take that back. It was meant to bring fertility to the land itself for a good harvest. It was also meant just not for fertility, but the act of sex actually produces a type of wild energy that can be focused to bring about all kinds of different effects, and wanted or sometimes unwanted effects. Alrighty, let's get into it. Let's dive into this with a little bit more detail. Again, in a lot of these cultures, they had gods, goddesses, and spirits that represented beauty, love, and sex was all a part of that. And great orgies would be had, especially in Grecian. And in some of the older and some of the Sumerian rites that happened, a lot of their gods and spirits, one of the ways that their worshippers and their priests and priestesses would worship, and would be through mass orgies inside of the temples, which I always found that interesting about, in the ancient Middle East, like in Mesopotamia, again in Sumeria, Babylon even, that a lot of these gods, they fed off of these primal energies that were released through the act of sex. I'm not talking about lovemaking. I'm talking about man, woman, woman to woman, male to male, sometimes male or female to animal, especially when they worshipped bull gods. I'll get into that in a second. That through the act of sex, that they released a lot of these primal and primitive energies that these spirits would feed off of, and that they would use to give blessings upon their worshippers, that they were pleased with their worshippers. Just not for fertility reasons, fertility of the land, fertility of the people, but say they wanted rain, say they wanted something as far as to win their next battle. They would have these mass orgies with the worshippers. When I say worshippers, I'm not talking about the lay people. Get it, lay people? I know, bad joke. I'm talking about the priests and priestesses. Were the ones that would have sex with each other. And again, not confusing sex with lovemaking. Lovemaking produces a different type of energy than, say, just the act of sex. Again, if you were looking to appease or wish to have your animals be fertile and give birth, your horses to give birth, sometimes men or women would sacrifice an animal, and I'm not talking about killing the animal. They would actually have sex with the animal to appease the spirits, to appease the gods, with this release of primal energies, with this act of intermingling with an animal. Sometimes it would be a prize bull, or even a goat. Even I've heard instances of goats, people having sex with the goats. But it was always with some large animal that would represent either the god in question that you were currying favor with, or an animal that represented a herd of animals or a group of animals that you wish blessings to fall upon these animals with. But there's also and this is not something that, I'm not going to say it's really modern, but probably in the last 500 years or so, which in what I was just talking about, modern history. And this was not, and this would not happen in temple settings. This was something that would happen privately in practitioners' homes. When I use the word practitioner, I'm talking about witches. I'm talking about witchcraft. I'm not talking about Wicca. I'm never going to talk about Wicca. When I talk about Wicca, that gets me in trouble every fucking time. So I'm going to avoid that subject like the fucking plague until I feel the time is right to discuss it and offend as many people as possible. But that's a story for another day. I'm talking about hardcore witchcraft. I'm talking about Pictish ceremonies. What we would consider pagan ceremonies, even. Don't get too drunk too fast, people. That the only way they were able, like, say if they were trying to call forth a curse, or if they were looking to cause, and usually it's causing harm. It's usually nothing good happens out of it, out of what I'm about to talk about. It's usually to do harm to someone. That witches don't like using the word warlock, but warlocks, male witches, and in Santeria, you have the sorciers, but they would not be the person who was wishing to conduct the ceremony or conduct the ritual. They would not be the one participating in the act of sex. They would usually get either volunteers, both willing or unwilling, to have sex at an appointed time, an appointed place, usually at their altar, or their temple, their house, their place of worship. They would do these acts to harness the energy, those again, to harness those primal energies released in sex, these wild, primal, insane energies. And they would do things that the best describe them as entropy curses. Um, but usually an entropy curse is long term, but if you're using sexual energy to power an entropy curse, it has a limited life. It has a limited time in which for it to take effect, to cause harm. Like if you were trying to have somebody have a heart attack to kill them, and you were harnessing the sexual energy to be able to direct these primal wild energies to do that. Most entropy curses cause what's called bad. They give you. It's called fatal bad luck when you think about it that way. It's fatal bad luck. That gets worse and worse and worse. If you survive it, it's going to come back around and get you again. Say you miss getting hit by a bus when the curse is upon you. Okay, then next time a piano may drop out of the fifth story and either kill you, and if it misses you, it gets progressively worse until you have a fatal accident. And sometimes it can be a heart attack. Sometimes it can be a stroke that ends it. Um, but usually with sexually powered entropy curses, um, you have 24 hours for the curse to take effect to kill somebody with it. A person's smart and realizes what's going on. Um, Usually awareness can counteract the curse. Say if you feel a heart attack coming on and you're around people, you can be kept alive with modern medicine until 24 hours or 48 hours has passed where the it has run out of steam, so to speak, and can no longer affect you. Now, in something personal, in the religion of voodoo, sex is used for one purpose and one purpose only: the act of sex in rituals. And that's used to, again, it's used for two reasons, but it's always used with married couples that are having problems conceiving, um, or they're having problems in their marriage. And the ritual that governs that is comes from Ersuli Red Eye. Ersuli has two faces. She's Ersuli and there's Ersuli Red Eye. Ersuli Red Eye is a more she's a greater Loa. She's a greater ancestral spirit. When she's known as Ersuli Red Eye, she runs on high emotions. She governs high emotions. She governs lust, anger, jealousy. Esuli herself will govern over love, marital love, and the softer side of all of the other emotions. And she also governs fertility. Now, she's not the only one that will govern fertility. Believe it or not, Baron Samedi, which everybody associates with death, is also one of the aspects of his nature is bringing new life into the world. It's his responsibility to take life from the world, but he's also responsible for seeing that new life replaces it too. And he'll work with some of the other greater Loas that are his brothers or sisters or his cousins, in the Loa family tree to make sure that happens. So when you have a couple that is trying to conceive, what the Hungan or the Mambo does is calls upon Ersuli and calls upon Baron Samadi to both witness and to give their blessing and during the conception. And usually the couple are having sex there in front of your altar and in front of the congregation, to lend them their strengths and to ask that the Loa enter the two that are having sex to ensure that the children will be born healthy, safe, and blessed. I'll be honest with you. I've conducted 6 of these ceremonies. The only thing that's for the person that's conducting it, for the Hungan, me, for conducting, I'll tell you right now, there's nothing sexy about it at all. Okay? It involves some bloodletting on my behalf, not from their behalf, and a lot of prayer. Because the Ersuli and Baron Samedi have to enter me first. And then I touch the 2 that are having sex on the ground. I touch them, and the spirit leaves me and enters them. And then I have to sit there and wait to take the spirit back from them when they're done having sex. Sometimes it's really fast. They get done with the deed pretty fast. And then sometimes the shit doesn't seem to ever end. They are truly possessed by the spirit, by the Loa. And the Loa are having their way to ensure that a child is born from this copulation. And it can go on for a while. Yeah, it's again, this is not lovemaking. This is just spirit. This is just sex, flat out sex. And the energy that's released during this ceremony, I'll tell you what, it's like it's like standing. You know those little globes that are, I don't know if they're so popular, like the little lightning globes, you touch them and you get the little, the little lightning come to your fingertips and stuff and concentrate around your fingertips. And some of those electrical devices, that if you touch them, your hair stands on end, or it charges the room up with so much static electricity that, you're just, everything around you is crackling with the energy. That's usually, that's always what happens during the ceremony, that the air becomes just charged with this primal energy all around you. And I'll tell you what, it makes usually the onlookers, the faithful that are there, and my assistants, the faithful who are paying witness to this, and my assistants, they're touched by this release of energy. I'll tell you what, they get horny as fuck from it. They get sexually aroused themselves. And sometimes if you look around, you'll see them touching themselves or touching each other, because they're being affected by all the sexual energy that's being released, by both the act of sex and by being written by these 2 Loa. So it gets kind of crazy. It gets kind of crazy. I have never been affected by that energy from that. But I think it's because I am the conduit for that energy, so it doesn't affect me. It just flows through me, for the ceremony. So it's not meant to affect me. But like I said, if there are people around, everyone that's observing it, they do. And usually that night, when they go home, there's a lot of new babies that are being made. I'll tell you what, I had 2 goats at one of them I always have a live animal there. It's not always to be sacrificed, just to let everybody know. I know. There should be a television show called Confessions of a Voodoo Priest. It even affects the animals that are in there too, because I had 2 male billy goats that were trying to fuck each other. During the entire time of the ceremony, they were going at it because they were being affected by this energy as well. It's absolutely insane. So rituals, ritual sex, and sex and rituals. Again, just a I still can't believe this is my topic for tonight. But it's just always been fascinating to me that not more people haven't ever talked about this. Um, like I said, the energy that's released can be used for good or for bad. It just depends on the intent of the people that are doing it. Um, Now, there are a number of things that couples can do uh, to create energy in their bedroom that they can then channel through their bodies. And, to them, it's an aphrodisiac. They take that energy, channel it through them. Um, and these are dabblers, people that dabble in magics. One of the very few times you actually hear me talk about actual magic. I'm talking about true magic. I'm not talking about the blessed wannabes that are out there who light candles and dance like fools around a fucking pole or anything. I'm talking about true magic, and there's and there's a surprising number of people out there who actually practice it and actually share what they know with other people. There's a fairly large group. And these are old magics. But if you have a couple that are trying to conceive who do not belong to a faith such as mine, or to a group, or to a coven even, that can assist in helping them conceive, or help them re-spark their marriage, that there are things that they can do on their own they have to set up a little altar in their bedroom to create energy that then their bodies can channel it into sex, into the act of sex. And from what I understand, it's some of the wildest monkey sex out there in the world is magically charged, spiritually charged sex. It's fucking crazy. Personally, I've never had the need to do that um, whatsoever. I've asked my current wife many times if she'd like to try any of the stuff that's in my great big, my great black book of bad things. And she just looks at me sideways. She says, "I don't think we both need that." And I said, "Yeah, you're right about that. We need." um, but enough about me. That's a story for another day. uh, let's talk about now. Let's change subjects. Let's change subjects. Again, I hate glossing over stuff, and I hope you all picked up some good stuff out of that conversation. Let's talk about unwanted spiritual sexual encounters, and sometimes wanted sexual encounters. 50 Shades of Mike. You should see the room where and I'm shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up. Trust me, Amityville wasn't the only place with a red room. Except for my red room didn't have demons. Well, bless you. Yeah, there are sex demons. Well, I don't parlay with the term demon. Um, Aggressive sexual entities. That's what I'll call it. Um, okay, off subject, off subject. For those who are new to my channel or new to watching this episode, I do stray off subject on occasion, so please forgive me. I always try to rein it back in and get back on topic. Okay. Let's talk about unwanted sexual paranormal encounters and some that are wanted. I'm trying to decide on what to start with. Let's start with wanted sexual encounters. There is actually a term for someone who is aroused by spirits, sexually aroused by spirits. It's called spectrophilia. I shit you not. That's a real fucking word. Spectrophilia. That they cannot get aroused whatsoever unless they either have contact, physical, you know, nasty bumps with a ghost, if they witness a ghost, um, or if they feel a ghost, they need that to become sexually aroused. And it happens to both male men and female as spectrophilia. Not to be cute, confused with necrophilia. That's something different. So they go out and they'll watch shows, supernatural shows on television, both movies and ghost hunting shows, in hopes of seeing a spirit that they can, whack off to on there. Because again, they cannot physically be aroused and mentally be aroused unless they see or interact with a spirit. Now, there is a twist to that. If they do not have access, if they don't have a Ouija board with a bit shaped like a penis or something, notice I said penis. I didn't say dick or cock. Well, I just said it, but dick or cock. By the way, they do make Ouija boards shaped like cocks. Just to let everybody know, they fucking exist. Oh God, the places I've been and the shit I've seen. There are also groups of now, if they don't have access to a spirit or a cock-shaped Ouija board to call up a spirit. Oh, fuck me. I'm trying to be serious, but this is so hard to be serious and talk about it because I'm such an asshole that laugh about everything, which gets me in trouble with everyone. They will actually put a mirror above their bed or a mirror beside their bed if they have a partner they're going to have sex with. And the only and during the entire time of sex, they're staring at their reflection in the mirror. And not just their reflection, but the reflection of their partner in the mirror. I'm not sure Trojan makes ghost condoms. I can't imagine how many ghost babies have been born from this shit. But they look at the reflection in the mirrors, and to them, it's like they're having sex with that reflection. And to them, that's a spirit they're having sex with when they're looking in the mirror. Again, I fuck you not. Spectrophilia is a real thing. And again, people who, can't get off any other way unless they're either they're having sex while staring at a mirror or whacking off to Ghost Adventures. Oh fuck yeah, I said Zach Bagans. They're not whacking off to Zach Bagans. They're whacking off to to the ghosts that they're hunting. Oh fuck me. Oh God, I promise not to talk shit about Zach Bagans again, but here we go. I'm gonna get some hate mail from the Bagans monies again. I'm not going to apologize for what I just said. Okay, I'm not going to apologize for what I just said because I'm talking about spectrophilia, and what people do to be able to get off with when it comes to ghosts. And there's a lot of spectrophiliacs that watch, and I'm not fucking around at all, who watch Ghost Hunters, Ghost Adventures, and all that shit on the Travel Channel and then they get super hot and horny and they want to have sex after watching that. Or they want to self-pleasure themselves. They want to touch themselves afterwards. But that is their kink. They can't do it any other way unless that's happening. I'm pretty fucking sure this episode is going to get flagged. Y'all are not helping with the comments. God damn it. I'm trying to be serious, and y'all are making me less serious right now. But can you imagine somebody who would, and I am going to poke fun at it a little bit. Can you imagine somebody that the only way that they can have meaningful sex or meaningfully pleasure themselves is by watching it, watching Poltergeist? They can't get off unless they're watching Poltergeist. Um, Again, you guys can look it up. Spectrophilia is a real thing. Um, oh God. Oh wow. Again, I'm pretty sure this episode is going to get me in trouble with YouTube. And not just the Bacon's Bunnies. Just to let everybody know out there who's watching this, Hunters After Dark is that dark. Oh my God. Just to let you know, and I'm going to move on from Spectrophilia, okay? I'm going to say one last thing about Spectrophilia, and then I'll move on from it. I'm going to get off that subject. But just to let everybody know, those who do, uh, I'm so glad my channel's not monetized. It would be demonetized so fucking fast. Oh God. For those of you who are watching this who have your own, ghost hunting channel or paranormal stream that they do on YouTube, I just want to put this one little seed in your head. How many of your followers and viewers are spectrophiliacs and they only watch your show to be able to get off by watching it? Okay, with that said, put that little seed in your head, okay? Think really hard about that. Okay, back to serious talk again. Oh God, this is not going to be the best. This is not going to be one. This is not going to be a show that I'm going to be super proud of in the future. It's not going to be one that I'm going to pin some places. Everybody watch that episode. Yeah, just keep in mind, Chris, that you probably have some spectrophiliacs that watch your show, dude. That whack off the entire time y'all are talking about ghost encounters. They're visualizing ghosts as you talk about it. I don't know. I guess it would just be masturbatory for women. They can't whack off. I'm just saying. Oh Jesus Christ! I have to be an adult. I gotta stop being a little kid. Um, long and hard. You're not helping heavy metal. You're not helping me be serious. Oh fuck me. Spectrophilia. It's a real thing. I can't wait till Papa Joey watches this episode and gets to this place. And I want to hear him and Keith talk about on their next show about spectrophilia. Okay, I want them to devote 20 minutes. This is a challenge to the truth about beer, guys. I challenge you to talk about spectrophilia for 20 minutes and keep a straight face and not bust out laughing every time you're talking about it. That's my challenge. That goes to anybody else who has a channel. Chris, everybody, if you have a channel, that is my challenge. That you can can talk about it for 20 minutes. You're right, heavy metal. That needs to be their next subject is spectrophilia. Oh God. Okay. Oh fuck me. Okay. Let's talk about the negative side to things. Let's talk about the unwarranted. advances by spectral entities, sexual encounters with spectral entities. Now, everybody knows, from history, we know what an incubus is, we know what a succubus is. And there are succubi and incubi that are found throughout nearly all faiths and all religions and all cultures. There's some aspect of an incubi and a succubi. And these are sex demons. They're sex demons. They come to you at night. An incubus being a female, incubus being male, sorry, incubus being male, and a succubus being female. They come in, they tempt either sex into sin, into losing their soul by having sex with them at night and by tempting them. But there are also a number of entities, and this is, and I'll tell you what, I've never heard an instance of and I'm just going to say it, a ghost rape, a rape ghost. We're going to call it a rape ghost from here on out. When I use the word ghost from here on out, I'm talking about a once human entity, somebody who has been deceased and has stayed in this world as a ghost, and they have become a rape ghost. A rape ghost, and I'm gonna just put quotation marks around rape ghost. That's gonna so get me in trouble. The term rape ghost. God damn it! I gotta be serious, because this is actually pretty serious. Again, truth about beer, guys. Try to talk about rape ghosts and keep a straight face. But they are horribly evil people that have died, have not passed on into either their eternal reward or their eternal damnation, but they have chosen to stay on Earth continue to plague the living, in such that they will sexually molest men and women that they encounter. What do I mean by that? There's two ways they do it. They can enter your dreams at night, and literally you will dream about being raped by a spirit in your dreams, and then literally wake up out of your bed screaming, feeling like you actually were raped, but it all happened in your mind. But you have the physical sensation of being violated. And now this happens to both men and women, just not women. When I use the word, rape or unwarranted advances, it just doesn't happen to women. Now we hear more about women, because they talk about, for the most part now, please don't give me evil about this, what I'm about to say. Most women, when they talk about this, they will talk about it, but men very rarely will admit to being sexually violated by a spirit. And again, it happens to men as well. Now, entering their dreams and violating them is one way of doing it. Now, they can manifest themselves enough. These rape ghosts can manifest themselves enough to grope women, grab their boobs, grab their crotch. Same goes true for men. They'll grab their crotch. They will feel something. They'll have the sensation of something kissing on their face, kissing on their neck. Something when they're lying in bed or sitting down or standing up during an investigation, or at home trying to go to sleep and being in bed. They'll feel a pressure on their body as something is pressing itself against their body, especially in their crotch region. And being physically aroused is for men and women, is an involuntary reaction. So if something is toying with your genitalia, your body, not you, not your mind, will become aroused from this physical contact by these spirits. With that said, before I run out of time tonight, it was about 11 years ago. Again, I was called by this is an investigation team that I adore here in Virginia. They're amazing people. It's a husband and wife team, and they've got other members that they've adopted onto their team. And they have a good friend of mine who's an amazing psychic who accompanies them on all their investigations. But they came to me because they were working with a newlywed couple, married for about a year. And they had moved into, and actually, what state, what county was this in? It was in Giles County here in Virginia. And that's Giles with a G, Giles. It was in Giles County. Now, I never say names of people because I'm trying to protect them. I don't want to be that person who doxes people when shit like this happens to them. But they were originally called into this house they had moved into, that had been, for all intents and purposes, it had been a crack house before. It was cleaned out and then renovated. Two-story house, old house, had become a crack house in Giles County. Homeless people, crazy shit that was going on in there. A lot of crazy energy. People that OD'd and died in this old house. But again, once it was cleaned out and renovated, it was put on the market, and this was their very first house. And it was haunted by actually it was a trio of spirits that haunted this house. And they were once human spirits. People had overdosed in that house. And it started out as a lot of slapping. It would happen whenever they were alone in the house, the husband and wife, when they were alone in the house. They'd have their asses smacked. They'd have their faces smacked. It was kind of violent. She was having her breasts bitten. He would be in the shower, and he would feel a hand running across his crotch. And they were being molested by ghosts. Now at night when they slept, she said that it felt like something was pressing on her and something penetrated her. He said something felt like it was wrapping its mouth around his penis at the time, and was clawing his chest while it was doing that. So they called in the team, and they didn't know what to make of it. That was the first time they ever encountered spirits, once human spirits, that were assaulting people sexually. They were used to, your standard poltergeist or your classic old-fashioned, chain rattling spirit that they would go out and investigate. This was something new for them. So naturally, they call in they called me in to see what I made of it, and I offered to spend the night in the house while they stayed in a hotel. And I stayed there with my psychic friend who was a part of that amazing team. And they set up cameras. They did the whole shebang. They stayed out in their vehicle with the cameras running in the house to monitor everything. Now I stayed in their bed, nothing during the day, and it was about 3 nights. If I remember correctly, I have to look back at my journal on that one. But I felt the first night that I was laying in their bed, I felt somebody breathing in my face, hot breath, breathing like that in my face. I could hear it and I could feel it. When they exhaled, my eyes would dry out, and I could feel a hand pressing on my chest that night. That was the first night. The second night, something was running its hands up my legs, up and down my legs, and across my chest. On the third night, if I'm remembering correctly, it felt like somebody was chewing the side of my neck and rubbing my face with their hands while they were doing it. Now, every time this happened, I would snap awake and sit up in bed. And it would always felt like it took a couple minutes for the activity to cease. They never touched my psychic friend. They never touched her or bothered her. But she would always come in the room when I would wake up and sit up in the bed. She said they were here, weren't they? And I'd have to look at her and go, yeah, something was here. Something was here. She said as soon as I opened up the door, they just dissipated. They left. Just back into the ether, and they were gone. She still is pretty good at cleaning houses of once human spirits. She's really, really good at it. Her aura is crazy that most once human spirits that take one look at her spiritual aura about her, it automatically repels them. They start to move away from her. And the really cool thing is that when she concentrates and works on cleaning a house, that her aura literally expands to fill up the room and eventually fill up the entire house and forces spirits to leave. She's an amazing, amazing woman. I love her so. I love seeing her in action every time. We got the couple to come back in, and we were able to validate something was happening to them because it happened to me. And they asked how could they move forward with it. I said, well, you're not willing to leave the house. And of course they said no, it was their first house. They took all of their money and buried it into this house. So I said, okay. They said, well, what kind of spirit is it? I said, it feels like once human spirits. And based on the history of this house, I'm thinking that they were drug users. They were crazy. Of course, drugs driving them crazy. And this was the way they were expressing themselves, by trying to sexually molest the people around them as if they were still alive, and use up this couple as much as possible. Well, of course, my friend, I brought my little black murder bag, as I call it, with me that had all of my various tools of the trade in. And between me and my awesome psychic friend, we were able to clean the house and then seal the house from top to bottom to keep any of those spirits to be able to pull enough energy into that house to be able to manifest again. They couldn't pull energy in to be able to act on the mortal plane again when we sealed the house away. And they were fine ever since then. But I will tell you what, that was the first time anything like that had ever happened to me. It left a very long psychic impact on me. It bothered me emotionally and physically for a long, long time afterwards, until I was able to work it through. It was tough. Well, guys, look at the time. Time flies when you're having fun. I want to thank everybody for joining me tonight. Had a great time relaying this tale with you tonight and talking to you tonight. I always appreciate people who come on, with the live streams. I love you so much. But if you don't have time to be with me live, I would love for you to watch it later and maybe leave a comment in the comment section. Please like and subscribe. We're trying to move this channel up in the world, not for monetary purposes. I just like having a broader audience I like having more people to talk to. I like having large groups of people to talk to. I like being able to share with large groups of people. I don't do this for money. I don't need the money. I do it for joy, for the joy of doing it. I do it for the joy of teaching. I do it for the joy of entertainment. If you like what you saw tonight, there are past episodes and future episodes that you may enjoy as well. Please feel free to check out what I have done in the past and what I'm going to be doing in the future. If you are on Twitter, you can follow me at VoodooMan3. Or you can Google Mike the Naked Bigfoot Twitter, and you can find me that way, or go to Twitter and look up Mike the Naked Bigfoot. And feel free to follow me. I do follow back, so I will follow you back. Again, I want to thank everybody for joining me. As always, if you've been playing our drinking game tonight, please do not drink and drive. Alrighty, guys, have an amazing night. Until we meet again, this is What the Fuck Paranormal Chat with Mike the Naked Bigfoot. Have a great night.